Hi everybody, I'm here to talk about my macro GDG Optimum Rotation. We're using the X6 version, but features will be same on the X7 version. I'm just going to go over some of the features from top to bottom. Its main feature is the Optimum Rotation. You can rotate an object, or if you select multiple objects at once, to its thinnest width or thinnest height. This is great for production, vinyl cutting. If you're going to save material, you need to get items rotated quickly to the thinnest width or height, however you want to output it. So just a quick example here, and I'm sure you can find many other uses for this. If I want to rotate this to the thinnest height, I'll click this button, and now it's at its thinnest height, which is happens to be 2.4 inches, and before that it was 2.9. Or you can manually, you'd have to otherwise manually play with it to find out what its thinnest size is, so you can output that quickly, or you can just use this macro. And you can also assign shortcuts to just about every feature in this macro. I included a whole bunch of icons. You can assign icons to these buttons, and if it's a feature you use a lot, you could even assign a shortcut key, and you'll just click the button, and that's its thinnest height. It's ready to output. You can output that to your vinyl cutter or printer or whatever you're going to output. Just a quick way to save material using this main feature here. Then we come here, batch rotate. We can rotate an item. Let's see, let's delete these. Let's bring over some simple shapes. If I want to rotate it 25 degrees, I can rotate it. You'll notice in your tips here, hold shift to rotate all items as one, hold control to make a copy, and you can have fun reading those tips. There's a lot of interesting and useful tips. So if I hold control, I'll make a copy, and then we could even batch rotate all these and hold control and make a copy. Or we could use the repeat feature, and let's put in 20 and see what happens. I'm just gonna hold control, and you can see we just rotated 20 times. Single undo to undo that. I'm going to change that to 15. Let's change its reference point, which will be interesting. So let's do it with a click, and we'll put the reference point here. So all shapes will rotate based on that quick and easy way we put a reference point or object rotation axis. So I'm going to hold control again. Oh, get some interesting designs. You can get some pretty cool kind of like a spirograph designs when you're, so we'll do this one. We'll put our reference point here, and I'll click hold control rotate. Pretty neat effects you can get. Batch rotate all these with this reference point, hold control, and you can see, I'm sure you can find many uses for the batch rotate. If I double click that, that'll change it to 1. Quick double click this, it changes it to negative, and I can rotate it the other direction. And remember, it's still using this reference point. If I select here, it'll change. If I want to use its object's reference point being the center, I'll just click right here, and it changes pretty easy. So I can rotate and then use its bottom reference point, rotate. If you wanted to batch set shapes rotation angle, you're just going to want to select them, change their rotation angle to 0, and then you can set your angle here and rotate them. Clicking this reverses the rotation. Here's I call it like the scope button. You can affect items in normal mode or inside groups, inside power clips and groups, inside power clips but not groups. And you can play with this. It's very powerful. If you had some items in a power clip, it'll rotate them. Or inside groups, it'll rotate them individually inside the group instead of rotating the group item as a whole. So pretty powerful features right here you can check out too. The random rotation is pretty neat. I like to do this with some text as one example. Let's see. wacky text. And of course, you're probably going to want a better font than that, but just for the demo, I'm going to break those apart. And let's do it between 10. Notice how I double click, it'll change it to negative. So I can just put 10 and 10 and then double click one of the forms and it'll change it to negative 10 by double clicking that text box. We want each item to get a unique random angle, and the form will remember these settings if you're going to be using this a lot. And you click rotate here and you can get some interesting features. We could change this 15, 15. And every time you do it, you're going to get more. But anyways, you can random rotation of all selected items between the angles, or you could just put 0 and 360 here to get a random rotation angle or the full rotation. We got some quick rotate presets here, which are customizable by the way. If you want to batch rotate, we put 180, 90, and let's put our reference point back on center. Hold shift to customize a preset. We'll change that to 42, whatever, and that will remain there, 42. And all of these are assignable in your tools options customization area. You can assign a shortcut key or use one of the shortcut icons I provided with the macro for this. Myself, I use a lot like rotating 90, rotating 45, so I assign shortcut keys for those. So we can just click here and we'll get a rotation on that. And then there's the reference points, which we talked about. We can get it from a click or a selection. The selection would get the reference point. Let's say it's this shape here. If I select this and I put from the selection, it'll enter the coordinate points. So that will be the reference point. So now when I rotate, it'll be from this corner here. So if I put in 20 here and I hold Control to make copies, it rotated them from that reference point. Flipping's pretty cool. Same thing, batch flipping. So if I got a bunch of items and I want to flip them, just like in the tip section, hold shift to rotate or flip items as one. So if I want to flip this as one, I can hold shift and I flip it as one, vertically or horizontally. And then the flip across the line feature is pretty powerful too. If I have a line, I could select some items, or I could just select one item. It could be a bunch of items or one item. And then I hold shift and select the line last. So select the line last and then flip across the line, and it mirrors it across the line. And that's about it for my macro GDG Optimum Rotation, and I hope you like the macro.